You're currently listening to the best podcast all about the Phantom live on YouTube, and we're also live on other platforms, on other podcasting platforms called Anchor and Spotify. So go check us out over there, and let's start tonight's show. Yes, tonight's show is brought to you by Bradley Kelly, and tonight's show is very, very live. Yes, we're live currently right now. We are live on YouTube as we speak. And in this week's episode of The Enthusiast, the best podcast for the Phantom, best podcast for Phantom fans to listen to, I opened the 2024 Phantom Annual Live. Yes, that is happening. It is going to be happening. It is going to be awesome. And I'm going to be doing that after this. And heaps more in this week's episode of The Enthusiast. And shout out to Lofi Girl on YouTube for providing the beats. Shout out, providing the 2 a.m. study session, Lofi Hip Hop Chiller Beats. By that, the background music is provided by Lofi Girl YouTube channel. yes, it's awesome. They do a fantastic job over there, and that's the beats for tonight. Okay, coming up in the quickfire news. Few publications have released this year's 2024 Phantom Annual, and I'm going to open this year's annual live on The Enthusiast. No one in the Phantom comic book Phantom universe on YouTube has ever done this, so we're going to go and be the first people. So, how good? Okay, so we got the newspaper. Yes, I still get my comics from the news agency. So that's why we've got the news agency type logo going on there. So let's have a look. All last week, I was telling myself, no, Brad, do not look at the cover. Do not see it. Do not believe it. Do not look. And I always like to think that if you see a Phantom cover early on in the week, it just brings yourself down a notch. yeah. Wait, it brings Brad down a fair bit. In fact, it brings Brad down a notch, a couple of pegs as well. And I always like to think that if I do see it, it's sort of like if you're seeing the results for the latest F1 racing car results. Yeah, it's pretty much like that. I mean, you come in, you waltz on into a Monday, and you're thinking, I wonder what the F1 results were on the weekend. Yes, the news is talking about it. I better not look at that. It's sort of the same as, someone's posted a picture of that cover, that new cover, Phantom cover. Well, I'm not looking at that. No, sorry. I'm not looking at that. I am sticking with my protocols, and I am not seeing it. I don't see nothing. Okay. To the main attraction. Oh, okay. How cool's this? So what I'm having a look at here is Graham Nolan collection number 2. And yes, few publications, they started this sort of theme of publishing a group of stories by a certain group of artists, and they've continued it into the 2024 annual. Obviously, they did this sort of same theme with the 2023 annual, last year's annual, and they continued it through the 2024, if that makes any sense. And obviously the cover art and the back cover art is possibly done by Jason Paulos, which is awesome. I love his stuff. And now let's pop her open. Let's see what's in here. Want to have a look at a few of the stories, maybe. I've got the. Let's go. Obviously, I don't want to damage it. Not when I've just gone and bought it. I bought it yesterday. So, yeah, it's all good. I think last year I bought 2 copies. I might have to do the same this time around. Okay, what do we got going on here? That's the plastic there, all taken care of. What do we got going on here? It's actually quite a good quality book. It is. This is the front cover by Jason Paulos, and this is the back cover by Jason Paulos. It's actually it's not as heavy as the olden type of annuals from the 90s, but it's actually quite a good quality looking book. And as I said last year, and I'll say it again, that this annual, it's pretty light, but these annuals few publications have been putting out in the last couple of years have really been feeling like they're their own trade paperback. Really, it just feels like they're their own trade paperback, and it is actually quite a good quality book. And the next issue, the next issue to come out after this book is the Fake Jean Lafitte, Bad Blood in Bengala Part 2, on sale the 1st of February 2024. And I'll read out some of the stories. Oh, we've got a fair few stories in here. So we start off, the 2024 annual starts off with the Viking Fortress Mystery, 160th Phantom Sunday story. Then we have the Iron Python, which I've already read, but I think I'll read it again. The Prince Rex Conspiracy, On the Trail of the Assassin, the Fire Peak Tribe, the Time Skip, also known as the Forbidden Lands. It was first published in the 165th. It's a 165th Phantom Sunday story. The story was written by Tony DePaul and drawn by Graham Nolan, published on the 1st of October 2006 and finished on the 25th of March 2007, and that was the Time Skip, also known as the Forbidden Lands. Okay, on page 167, we got The Boy from San Diablo. It's a Team Phantom story written by Graham Nolan and art by Kari Leppinen. I think I've got that somewhere in my collection somewhere. I might have to fetch that out and compare. Okay, so we've also got on page 193, we've got 5 Days of the Dragon, chapter 1, and that goes for 5 chapters. There's 5 chapters of that, and the first chapter's wrote by Ron Mars, and artist is Ruben Procopio. And then we have the chapter 2 is wrote by Tony Bedard and Alan Goldman. It's published in the Phantom Annual number 1 by Moonstone. Oh yes, so these five chapters are all done by Moonstone, which, if you didn't hear, Moonstone Phantom comics are coming back this year, which is very, very, very exciting. And then we also have chapter 3 the story is wrote by Chuck Dixon and art is done by Graham Nolan. Then we have this chapter 4 is done by Raphael Neves, Tony Atkins and Ken Woloch. It was published in the Phantom Manual, and then we have Chapter 5 its story was created by Mike Bullock and Joanne Ferreira, and that was also all these chapters were published in the Phantom Annual by Moonstone Publications in 2007. So we're currently looking at, and I've just pretty much did a live unboxing of the 2024 Phantom Annual. And normally they will, yes, okay, we've got some, I'm just going to show this, because this is awesome. I'm glad few have included this. We've got some sketches that are at the end of this annual, and they have been done by the artist that does chapter 5 of this saga, which his name is Joanne Ferreira or something like that. And then we also have the Fuse Phantom 2023 publishing chronological. Okay, also another shout out to the next story that's coming from Few Publications, which is the fake Jean Lafitte Bad Blood in Bengala Part 2, on sale the 1st of February 2024, which will be very, very awesome. Back cover, front cover of the annual are amazing. I love Jason Paulo's, his work, I love his stuff. His stuff is always very, very nice to look at. Okay, that was issue number 1962. 244 pages that annual has in it. And that is just, that's mind-blowing. But back in the 90s, they were I've got a few Phantom annuals from the 90s, and their page number count was over the 300 mark. And obviously, you've got a lot of price increases back from then, but yeah, 244 pages, that's got to be at least 200 hours worth of reading material going on there. Probably not, but close enough. Okay, we also have a replica, the Phantom's Engagement. We have a replica of issue number 34. It comes with the annual in the plastic wrap and has the old ads that we've been seeing on these replicas for a good while. And also another thing to pick up is that Few recently have been putting they've been putting a piece of wording there to say that this comic is a replica and it's not original, because a lot of people in the last couple of years have been like taking the replica and then trying to sell the replica as the original, and Few had to put a particular piece of wording on there to say, no, this particular comic could be a replica, or it could be a replica, and it's not the original one that came out in, I think this one came out in it was either 1949 or 1950s, somewhere around there. But yeah, I think it's a good thing that Few Publications is doing and is continuing to do. But it's, as I've just said, that it's as easy to get a guillotine and pretty much just chop the edge part of that comic off. Obviously, I'm not going to do that, and obviously I'm not going to try and sell a replica that's not original. I'd rather have the original, but the replica is also pretty cool. But yeah, I think that if you were to see someone put a guillotine right through the edge of that comic, it would be a dead giveaway. It would be a dead giveaway for any Phantom fan. So if you see something like this out on the interweb, or if you're wanting to buy a replica, just be aware that some of them may have like a little replica text box bit going on the side. A lot of the older Phantom replicas from the Phantom annuals through, I think, the 90s and the 2000s. A lot of them don't, but you can tell because there's differences between the replica that was published in those days, the replica was published, and the original. There's clear differences that you can see, and there's just clear little subtle differences from the original to the replica that have already been published. And actually, in 2019's annual, they didn't actually publish they didn't publish a replica with the 2019 Phantom annual, because the story that would have followed up until it would have followed up until now for like the next 4. If they had published a replica, which was all about the Phantom's War, and that saga that goes to 4 issues, and because few have already published it in the past, that would have taken from 2019 to roughly 2023. So 2019's Phantom annual didn't get published. They did publish it, but they didn't include an annual with it. They include something else. I've actually got it up here, surprisingly enough. So this is what the 2019 Phantom annual looked like. They obviously didn't publish the Phantom Goes to War epic saga, epic storyline for the next 4 years as a replica. So I think this is the only issue that we didn't see a replica being published with a annual, which is pretty interesting, because every other annual that we've seen in the past has had a replica. Pretty interesting. Okay, and coming up on this week's show, we have the creator news. We are going to be talking about the voting results are in for Fuse Best of 2023. We have the publisher news. Zobaston Comics Flash Gordon issue number 4 is coming very, very soon. And new Regal and Shakti comics are now available at Few Publications website. So that's pretty cool. And then I'm going to be talking about some of the Phantom groups that if you're on Facebook and you don't know where all the Phantom groups are, I'm going to be giving a list to everyone watching the replay that can go on the Facebook and they can just enjoy what is being shared on the Phantom groups on Facebook, because there's some great stuff on there, and some of the groups on Facebook really, really share some good stuff. I normally like to share like the dailies and the Sundays, current Sundays and the dailies on there. So and I obviously I share some other things when I get to it. But otherwise, we also have the daily strip news. We have an epic daily strip saga comes to an end. And next up in the creators news, the voting results are in for Fuse Best of 2023, hosted by the good fellows at Chronicle Chamber. They have been, for starters, they've been doing a good job for the good number of years that they've had this poll going on. And if you didn't know, every year, at the end of every year, Phantom fans are allowed to vote for their favourite cover or their favourite story or their favourite entire full issue. And obviously there's a voting system that gets... Obviously there's a voting system that takes all of those, and Chronicle Chamber are one of the main driving forces to create that poll. So these are the results for Fuse Best of 2023. The best cover went as in number 1. The best cover went to Jeremy McPherson. He comes in number 1 on this list. The second best cover went to Alex Tripp, and the third, ever so surprisingly, went to Jeremy McPherson. And so we also have the best story went to The Box, which is another very, very interesting story. I actually enjoyed this story very, very much, and I think I voted for that story as well. It's been done. The writer was done by the writer is Dean Rankine, and I've interviewed him. He's awesome. And then surprisingly, the artist is Jeremy McPherson. And the second best story was the Paint It Black by Paul Mason and Amanda Backey, who did the assistant edits on that story. And the third went to We Gotta Get Out of This Place by Paul Mason and Amanda Backey, who was the assistant editor for that story, which is very, very interesting. Okay, also the best issue of the most favorite issue that Phantom fans voted in for number 1 spot is the 75th anniversary special, which I enjoyed very, very much. There was some other issues that I sort of liked more, but this anniversary special was a big hit with Phantom fans, which is very, very wasn't that a surprise? Very, very surprising. Well, was it? And so we also, the second best issue went to the 2023 Christmas special. What a surprise. And the third went to the 2023 annual special. And now I think Few has been doing a really, really great job with picking stories that aren't all the same and are different than picking the same old, same old. The covers are just another thing to get excited about. And last were some really amazing art from some really fantastic, talented artists who do some really amazing work. Well, wouldn't you know? Brad really knows his dictionary on some, and really, it's like when you have making a pizza, and right, so you're making a pizza, you've got to throw all the toppings on, and you just gotta throw a little bit of that, and you gotta throw a little bit of this and that, and this and that, and then you just gotta sprinkle a little bit of some, really, pizza, and it really makes it really, really good. Then chuck her in the oven for 180 degrees, and that was really good cooking lesson from yours truly. And really, do not try that at home. You may end up with a not so great pizza. Sorry, that was terrible. That was terrible. Really? Was it really terrible? I think so. Okay, in the publisher news this week, on a more cosmic note, Silverstone Comics will be releasing Flash Gordon issue number 4 with the comic series starting last year in 2023. The comic could go, wait for this, the comic could go intergalactic very soon. That was terrible. It could go very intergalactic very soon. Oh, that was terrible. I'm sorry you had to say that. Also in the publisher news, few publications have announced to fans that they will now be stocking more recent Regal Publishers and Shakti Comics Phantom books. I myself have been on a bit of a reading blitz with books from India. And I'm going to show you what might be coming to the channel very, very soon. Okay. So, what I have been reading in the last couple of weeks is Regal. I've been reading Regal Comics The Phantom, issue number 6. That might be coming to the channel, obviously. And then we have issue number 9, might be coming to the channel. And number 10, I've read all of those. That one might be coming to the channel. Obviously, Brad. Obviously, they're coming to the channel. Why are you just showing people what might be coming when they are coming? Oh yes, and also I've also read a very, very spectacular Phantom issue by a few publications, and it was very, very good. I can't show too much of this, just like that. That's what I've read. That's coming to the channel. Stay tuned for that. Did I show all of it? Probably. Sorry. You can now watch my show, The Enthusiast, on Anchor and Spotify. The Enthusiast, where the passion for the Phantom doesn't waver. New episodes weekly on Tuesdays, and I will also be putting a link to the podcast in the description down below. There's a lot of things down in that description. Now we have a new segment, the Phantom groups on Facebook. So I've made a list of most of the Phantom groups that are on Facebook. I'm going to start the list off with Trader Joe's General Store for Phantom Collectibles. Normally this is a group where you can go and sell, but it's basically it's a buy, swap and sell sort of group, and it's a really, really good group. You can actually find really, really good stuff on there. You can buy really, really great stuff on there, and it's normally the people that are selling or buying from people are normally Phantom collectors, and normally people who might have an uncle's Phantom collection are wanting to sell it. So yeah, it's a good place to be trying to find Phantom comics on Facebook. And I think another good place that sometimes you can't go wrong, sometimes there's a particular part of it that you may be able to go wrong, but eBay also has some really, really good stuff that people sell on there as well. If you're a vulture and you like your Phantom comics and you want to buy some Phantom comics, they're really good places. Just don't be a vulture. Think of yourself as you're retaining Phantom comics for your collection. Okay, I run a Phantom group, and it's called the Cave of the Phantom. Why is it so early in the list? I don't know. Did I write it in there? Yes, I did. Okay, we also have another group, really, really cool group. It's called the Phantom Collector. We have the Skull Cave Chronicles. They are really, really awesome. There's a little bit of spam on there, not from me, but from other people who think they can get away with it. But hopefully that's people that are trying to advertise other things rather than the Phantom. Apart from the Phantom, hopefully some in the future get banned from that group, because there's a lot of things that I shared on that group that are not particularly to do with the Phantom, but a lot of great people want to be using this group, but all these other people are like, no, we want to be using it for ourselves. We're not going to be wanting other people to use it. Why not? Why do that? There's some people in the world that like to think of, when they share something, they like to think of it, oh, it's all about me. No. If a Phantom, I always reckon if something has a purpose, it should be done the right way. If it doesn't have a purpose, I don't even know why it's there. And if a Phantom group has been created and there's all these people trying to enjoy this Phantom group, and then someone else comes into it and posts all these other things on there that have nothing to do with the Phantom, then they shouldn't be on there. And, well, and then we also have the Phantom World of Joan Boyce. A lot of original pages, coloured pages, and black and white artwork get shared onto there. We have the Phantom, the Ghost Who Walks. That's a group. We have a group that hopefully I can pronounce. Phantomenkuban. Phantomenkuban. I think that stands for Phantom Club in Norwegian or something. Okay, and then we also have the Phantom, the Ghost Who Walks colour discussion. We have a group all about Cy Barry fans. Obviously, not all these groups are done by myself. They're done by other people. And we have the group that does stuff to do with the legendary Indian publisher called the Phantom Indragal Comics. That's a group. And we also have a Phantom group, Phantom Siroccos and Rare Phantom items. Sometimes that group shares really, really rare stuff that you don't normally see. So it's a really, really, really nice group to be a part of. And obviously, I only run one Phantom group. I don't run all of these. They're run by many, many other people, and they really, really do a good job. And if you want to check out more Phantom groups on Facebook, you can just type up on that search bar and go, the Phantom, and you'll probably find them. And okay, we also have in the Phantom Daily comic strip, the current daily saga has finally ended, with it officially ending on the 13th of January 2024. The Phantom is seen in the last panel of the script left pondering, if my ultimate destiny hasn't been altered, cannot be altered, the mysteries of fate will one day send me to India to search for my son. But if that journey should never come to pass, maybe the journey home was mine as well. Maybe so. In the past week, Phantom fans have also seen the beginnings of a brand new story, which is supposed to be a reconstructing the classic story The Chain, and that started on the 15th of January 2023. And now, I've got a little bit of a bone to pick about this story, because if it's a classic for a reason, many people love it, and it's been reconstructed by Tony DePaul. Obviously, he's the writer and he can do whatever he wants, in boundaries, of course. But if you're touching a Phantom story that's so classic, that everybody loves, a lot of people like, and it's a classic for a reason, why meddle with it? Why meddle with a perfectly good story? But I guess, as I said, Tony DePaul is the writer, and he can pretty much do whatever he wants with the Phantom comic book strip. Or he can create brand new stories about the Phantom, and they sometimes do this. They do this, they wreck a story, and it happens time and time again with movies. Yes, it happens time and time again with movies, and then a franchise gets rehashed into a sequel, and you think that this sequel is not as good as the original, and it doesn't go as well, and it flops really, really bad. It really flops, and it belly flops into a swimming pool. I'm hoping that this new story called The Chain, that's got to be a reconstruction of the classic, I'm hoping that it doesn't go, and they don't just go and rehash it and destroy the original story. I'm just hoping that doesn't happen, because if it does, I probably will be talking about it. Okay, you can also get 14% off on all things Hermes Press with the code Enthusiast 2022. Whether you're looking for a really, really good time to be sitting in an armchair reading a Phantom comic, or you're just wanting to add something new to your Phantom collection, Hermes Press have something for everyone for their Phantom collection. Get 14% off when you use the code Enthusiast 2022, all in one word, and we are nearly done. Drinks break, always appreciated. Okay. And lastly, have you read the Phantom Annual yet? Have you gone down to a news agency if you live in Australia? Have you gone down there and you've gotten the Phantom Annual and you start reading it? What is your opinion? What is your thoughts on the latest Phantom 2024 Annual right now? You can comment those opinions and those thoughts down in the comment section down below. And as always, if you enjoy Phantom Cave reviews like he enjoys his... if you enjoy Phantom Cave reviews like he enjoys his pizza, then subscribe to see more great videos like this. And as always, keep Phantom Caving. No pizzas were harmed in the making of this episode. The toppings may have. The toppings. Bye, and you will see me next week with another episode of Enthusiast. Bye!